Hello and welcome to this very special broadcast with a very special guest. I have with me Edgar Remedios, who happened to be one of the first COVID-19 positive patients and who is the first patient who recovered and who is giving us a big hope. So, Edgar, thanks a lot for joining and thanks a lot for giving us this hope. So, let me begin with the most obvious question. How are you?
Well, I feel good. Considering 18, 20 days ago, I felt like I was almost close to my end. I feel amazing. I feel good to be back. I have a new lease on life. Thanks to Dr. Edwin Gomes and his team of doctors who really took really good care of me, and the rest of the patients. I don't have any words of much more gratitude that I can share with you to tell you how humble and how much care these people took care of us without any worrisome about their own. They didn't treat us badly. They didn't treat us like we were like there are people now around the place that I am where they treat you like you are an ostracized, what used to call them in the olden days, Harijans. Yeah,
Yes.
practically feel like one right now, practically. Yeah.
But let us start at the beginning very clearly. How did this happen? How do you, when you look back at it, from your journey from out of India to India, how do you think did this happen?
Well, I was on a business trip from the United States in Houston. Uh, I traveled with my daughter to the airport. We had a flight on the same day. And my daughter uh, went to visit her niece, sorry, her aunt, I should say, in New York. And we both went to the airport together. Her flight was ahead of mine. She flew in one direction to New York, and I flew in another direction to Amsterdam. And from Amsterdam, I went to Egypt
Hmm.
on business for about a week. This was on the 6th of March. I arrived on the 7th of March morning in Cairo. I was in business in Cairo for about 7 days. Traveled to Cairo, Alexandria, to all these cities around Cairo, meeting, consulting with my clients. And then on the 14th, I was ready to depart. My flight was back from Cairo to Frankfurt, and from Frankfurt to Houston.
Hmm.
As opposed to coming via Amsterdam, I was going back via Frankfurt. But on the eve of the night of my departure, I got a message from Lufthansa saying the flight's cancelled. The flight's not going to operate from Frankfurt to Houston. So I called my travel agent in the middle of the night in Houston and told her, hey, I have a problem. So she immediately woke up and tried to get me on another flight. She unconnected me out of Lufthansa, connected me on my United flight. And then 3 hours later, United told me, hey, we've canceled the flight from Houston, from Frankfurt to Houston. So now I'm stuck
Hmm.
in Cairo with a flight to Frankfurt, but then I don't have an onward booking.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'll be stuck in Frankfurt. So what do I do? So she gave me the option, Edgar, there is a flight that will take you to Istanbul from Cairo and from Istanbul to Houston. And I said to her, I don't know, I don't feel good about this. Annette is my travel agent's name. And she says, why don't you feel good about it? I said, "Because I feel good about going back to the United States because there's too much of chaos and pandemonium out there. I don't know what's going to happen. That was my first miracle. That was God's calling. And I said to her, I said, Annette, book me back to Mumbai. I'm going to go out to my in-laws and I'm going to go spend some time with them.
Hmm.
That for me was miracle number one. I mean, 2 days later, I started getting these symptoms that I thought that looked like a flu maybe, but on the fourth day, that getting any better. sister-in-law, Gayatri Pednekar, I think she's the one who said, Edgar, I think this is not good. She's my hero, my next hero, who, who coaxed me and said, Edgar, no, you got to go. You got to go to GMC. And I listened to her and I went and then immediately admitted right away. And 2 days later, I got the test done and it proved that I was positive for COVID-19, And that's when I met Dr. Edwin Gomes, and then you know the story. I was in GMC for 7 days. Then they moved me to ESI. I had pneumonia in my right lung. It was really bad. My full bronchial respiratory system was bacteria. And Dr. Dr. Edwin Gomes, he nurtured me back to recovery with his team. That's where I am right now.
From just for the understanding of everybody out there, when you say you started getting the flu-like symptoms, what exactly were those symptoms? Because when you say flu-like, it becomes too common. So, what were the first indicators?
First indicator was this feeling of a scratchy itchiness or lumpness in the throat. That's where it starts. And I've been reading about it, and that's where the virus stays for 3 to 4 days. Before it goes into your lungs. So I think the first time you get this feeling in your throat, and that's what my sister-in-law did. The first feeling that they all got in their throat, or had this indication, the first thing they did, they started gargling with hot water with betadine, betadine iodine gargles. Yeah. They did this 4 or 5 times a day. And I think with hot water, as much as you can tolerate, and that kills the virus in your throat, even before it can go down into your lungs. So this is the problem, if you can gargle with salt, vinegar, hot water, betadine, whatever, any antiseptic, Listerine, whatever, if you can target the virus in those first 3 to 4 days when you get that feeling, I think you can save yourself from getting this virus going into your lungs. I think this is the thing that you should do. That if you wait more than 3 to 4 days, thinking it's the that I did, which was my mistake, I gargled only once, and I suffered.
But what happens after 3-4 days for the understanding of general public?
So the next thing that happened to me was I started getting body ache. It's like like the influenza. The body started to ache. I started getting fever. Was this feeling of sweats coming in, fever coming, going, that kind of thing, and that kind of passed off. And then I started to feel this feeling of congestion. Like breathlessness. Like your chest is stressed. Every time you speak, feels like, hey, some of your lungs are stressed. Something's not right.
So even when you're talking casually,
you speak for a while, and then after some time you feel like tired. You feel like, hey, something's not wrong. You need to go feel like you want to rest. You want to go and lie down. That's that feeling that they say shortness of breath. That's the type of feeling that you start to get. Not that I had it to the point where I would say my oxygen levels were falling, but I had that feeling like something's wrong. It's your body tells you something's not right. There's something going wrong here, and that
doesn't happen with the usual flu.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Later, and I thought I was a smart guy. I thought I'll take antibiotics and I'll try and cure myself. And I told my mother-in-law, this is just a normal flu. Don't worry. She was panicking. She says, I think you need to go get this checked. And rightfully so. It wasn't for my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, and then my brother-in-law, my sadhu, who you call brother-in-law, drove me to the city, and he admitted me, got me in there to the ward and admitted me. I think I'm alive today because of my sister-in-law and Dr. Edwin Gomes and his team. I'm alive because of them. I'm not the hero in all of this.
Obviously, but you are the ones providing us hope. If you ask Goa today, who gives you hope, they would say Edgar's case gives us hope. So one very important factor that you are telling people, and which is traditionally what we do in all households, is to gargle. Whenever we get a itchy throat, we gargle, and
Yes.
that's predominantly kind of Indian. So you are saying that's effective.
Yes. Well, one of the other thing I just want to tell you is, and this is what I've read about from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. They are really, really good people. They know about these epidemics, pandemics. They have more experience with this, even though now they look like they're in total chaos.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman there, Dr. Fauci. He's been
Yes.
serving 6 presidents. He's a genius. But the problem is they're not allowing this man to do his work because we have another so-called genius above him, and I don't want to say his name, but he's not allowing this man to function, you
Yeah.
know. But what I'm trying to say is one of the most dangerous things about this is you do not drink anything cold.
Mm.
The virus survives on cold. You know, the moment you drink something cold like ice water, something cold, you got to make sure that you drink water, hot water, as much as your throat can tolerate. It
Mm.
basically subdues the virus. It
Mm.
kills the virus. It doesn't allow the virus to function. It
Mm.
kind of kills it or tries to inhibit its presence of trying to grow, basically. You
Mm.
know, so drinking cold is like adding oxygen or fuel to a fire. Just engulfs it and makes it bigger. You
Yeah,
know,
so you are giving two very crucial, very important advices. Drink hot water as much as you can, as hot as you can,
yes,
and gargle the
yes.
traditional way.
4, 5 times, maybe 6 times a day,
Mm.
even as many times as you possibly can.
Mm.
Still, you feel that your throat's better. You don't have this lumpiness or scratchiness in your throat, but continue to do it. Don't
Yeah,
don't stop the first day. Keep on gargling every day,
yeah,
just to be safer, to be precautionary. You know, don't take a risk.
yeah. So another thing which I want to ask, you call this a miracle. You taking that flight to Mumbai to Goa, you call this a miracle without, in spite of you reaching to the United States. Why? Because if you compare Indian healthcare system with the US healthcare system, anybody would say reaching US is a miracle. You are saying reaching Goa is a miracle. Why?
The United States, if you have, let me put it to you this way: if you have any form of trauma in America, say you meet with an accident in the middle of the road in any Texas highway or American highway, the care that you get, the immediate care that you get, there is no place in the world that can give you a fighting chance to live than in America. The healthcare in America is one of the best in the world, no doubt about it. But they are caught right now in a situation where they are not prepared. They are not prepared for this pandemic. They did not expect it to blow out of proportion like it did. So what happened? There is chaos. They don't have enough kits to test people. They are not testing people until they see like you have 90% of the symptoms. By then, it's too late. You're dead.
Yeah.
So if I had to go to the United States, my case would be like anybody else. I would be waiting in line for my case to reach a state where it was too late, and I'd probably be dead. It's not that they are not able to deal with it. They have the best systems in the world, but they are not prepared. They don't have enough ventilators. They don't have these drugs that they are asking to borrow from India.
Mm.
They don't have the cure to help people. They have a lot of people in America who have underlying conditions, and people with underlying conditions are the first ones to die. You know, so
Mm.
they don't
Correct.
know whom to test, whom to give preference to first. We are lucky in Goa because we have only 6 or 7 cases. Start in
But
this room,
one important
you
factor
know.
that I think people would like to know very much is that your journey after you got admitted to the GMC. because many people tell many tales about GMC. How was your experience once you were taken in for the treatment?
Well, GMC was in a state of chaos, and I don't blame those people at all.
Hmm.
There were people coming with all kinds of conditions. There were foreigners coming in. There were locals coming in. The doctors were they were just overwhelmed. You know,
Hmm.
those two nurses, three nurses, four nurses in the shift were forced to wear PPE in that heat. They were trying to attend to everybody. They were trying to put drips for everybody. There were cases, there were people dying. I saw one person die there.
Hmm.
Two people die there. There was chaos. But
Hmm.
still, these people did the best they could, under the circumstances. The hygiene of the GMC was difficult.
Yeah.
But people were scared. They were overwhelmed. I
Hmm.
don't blame them. They did the best they could for us.
Hmm.
I mean, under the circumstances, hey, I don't think anybody could have done better. I have no complaints. I managed. I know it was bad, it was dirty, it was unhygienic, but those people did what they could to help us. And I have no arguments about that.
Got it.
Absolutely none.
But then you shifted to the ESI hospital in Margao COVID hospital. How was the situation there? Were we prepared?
Oh, the ESI hospital was like a five-star compared to the GMC. It was totally different. It was clean. It was hygienic. But the nurses there, they were really scared. They
Yeah.
they would say like, stand out there. Don't come here. Don't. I'll keep the mask for you there. You come and collect it after we leave. They were scared. But Dr. Edwin Gomes and his team, they basically convinced them, educated them, and then after a few days, they were pretty cool. They were
Hmm.
back to normal.
Hmm.
Uh, they were good.
What
They did the best.
one important difference, because we have the experience of US and India, and one of the primary fundamental differences in strategies in fighting this was the lockdown. The US has
Yeah.
still not gone into a complete national lockdown, whether India is completing its 21-day lockdown. When you look at both these strategies, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the strategy that the Goa government and the chief minister is using is excellent. I think social distancing is the right thing to do. Not having people gather in more than six or tens is an ideal thing. But people need to understand the basic stigma. They should not have this
Yeah, yeah.
stigma in mind. The problem is that people we all overreact.
Hmm.
They just go from one extreme to the other.
On the
They are
other,
not
yeah,
they're not different in their thought process.
yeah,
If you understand what's going on, if educated people behave uneducated,
yeah.
what will the uneducated people do?
Right.
What will the people on the street who don't have an education do? If educated people behave like uncouth, uncultured,
Hmm.
they talk loosely, they speak loosely, they
Yeah.
make comments, they spread rumors,
I
they spread
frankly
rumors about.
feel, I frankly feel whatever goes on social media, you shouldn't take it seriously anymore.
Yes, I agree. I agree. But you know what? Having social media is a platform to spread awareness in a good way,
Yes, yes.
not in a bad way.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, write, writing rubbish, writing rubbish on Facebook, writing things like, hey, these 9 guys have come here to India, 7 of them are foreigners, they've come to take free treatment. Why? Why would you even write something like
Yes.
this?
We are in the middle of a crisis. We need to help each other irrespective of who we are.
Yeah.
I
You
think
want
that's the basic thing.
to ask this person, would you
Yeah.
like me to pay my treatment? Yeah, when I get out of all of this, I'm gonna make a donation from my own pocket to help other people. I am. I'm gonna go and give a check to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund, and I'm gonna give it to him personally. And I'm going on record telling you that I'm gonna do it because I want to help other people.
Hmm.
Because government and the people have helped me. I want to give something back to the people.
Yeah.
This is not about me. This is not about anybody else. This is about human nature. This is about humanity. This is not about rich, poor, caste, who you are, where you come from, how much money. This is not about religious barriers. This is not about Hindu, Catholic, Muslim, Buddhist. It's about common human decency.
Yeah. My last question to you is, how has your family taken it? You are here, they are there. Uh, how have they taken it? How they traveled this journey with you?
My wife is my rock. My wife, Gauri Nagarsekar is her name, her maiden name. Uh, she's a rock. Everybody knows her in Goa. If you say Gauri Nagarsekar, I think 90% of the people know her because she's my rock. I'm alive, and if I'm live today and if I'm healthy today, it's because of the goodness of all the good things that she has done for so many people in this world. She is a she is a genuine person who has never hurt anybody in her life. Her and her sister together, both of them, they are like a glue, that bonds sisters like no other in the world. Together they are a team that have kept me well. They are my miracles, actually, both of them. The family I'm married to, they are my miracle. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be alive today if not for them. My wife, with everything that I've been through, she would call me and tell me, "Don't worry, this is nothing. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you." Even when I lost hope, she kept me going. She calls me every day in and day out, and she's been my rock. She's been more cool than I've been here. I mean, she's like she's like calm as a cucumber, and I'm freaking out here. And she's like, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just overreacting.
What was
So
their reaction when they realized that you are discharged, you are getting discharged finally?
for her, she was like, "I knew it was going to happen. She was
For
like,
your
"Yeah,
daughter?
yeah." And my daughter was scared. It was at some point in time. She was scared, but she didn't want to show me she was scared. But she was frightened as hell. She was really frightened. But my wife, she held us together. My sister-in-law, Gayatri Pednikar, she held us all together. She's my rock. She's my hero. You know, there's nothing more that I can say
Yeah,
other than
I completely understand.
uh,
So Edgar, thanks a lot for talking to us. One thing I would say, let us keep doing this more often, because I
yes.
think your experiences will be of immense importance for everybody. So as this situation develops in Goa, in India, now that we have established this connection, let's keep doing this periodically and do the best that we can.
I just want to say in this final part that I want to thank Dr. Edwin Gomes and his team. He has been my rock, my sister-in-law Gayatri Pednikar, my wife, my children, my in-laws, all my friends and family from all around the world, who I think in thousands, who have texted me and prayed for me. If I've missed out on anybody, forgive me, but thanks to you for having me on the show, for
So
taking the time.
completely, these are the experiences that are going to save us in the end. I firmly believe that.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ed. Thanks a lot. We shall
Thank,
stay in touch.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye.